Today, we're jumping into a really chilling horror story about a brand new, super modern skyscraper in Mumbai that's hiding a terrifying secret. We're talking vanishing employees, a floor that shouldn't exist, and a deadly curse that just seems to break all the rules of logic.
So just imagine hearing those words. That's what's echoing in Inspector Satyajit Deshmukh's head as he's racing towards that skyscraper. He just got a frantic call. Another person has disappeared, and he's got this gut-wrenching feeling that this is way more than just a missing persons case. All right, so this whole thing kicks off where a lot of mysteries do, inside a busy police station. But a single phone call just completely shatters their normal routine and launches them into an investigation, a puzzle, that seems to have no logical solution at all.
Now, this building, it's a real piece of work. On the surface, it's everything you'd imagine. It's the peak of modern architecture, this gleaming tower in a really fancy neighborhood. But underneath all that glass and steel, it's hiding a very dark, very buried past.
Okay, so here's the puzzle that has the police completely stumped. The security footage is crystal clear. An employee walks into a lift. He pushes a button for his floor, and then he's just gone. He never gets out. Not on any floor. He just vanishes into thin air. I mean, how is that even possible?
And this is where it gets really, really disturbing. The police start digging, and they realize this isn't a one-time thing. It's a pattern. For years, people have been disappearing from this building in the exact same way, and all those cases went cold. And the latest victim? He vanished just yesterday, a Friday the 13th.
So with the police investigation basically at a dead end, the story shifts. And this is where we meet Rahul, a new employee who is about to find out that the building's secrets aren't just history. Now, they're supernatural and they are very, very real.
So picture this. It's late, Rahul's heading home, he gets in the lift. But on its way down, the lift just stops, completely unannounced. The doors open on the 13th floor. Two construction workers get in and they just start chatting. And what Rahul overhears absolutely makes his blood run cold. This shiny new tower was built right on top of an old cemetery.
And then, as if that wasn't creepy enough, one of the men says this. It's this absolutely terrifying prediction. For them, maybe it's just talk. But for Rahul, this is the moment he realizes he's working in a place where a death trap might be a literal thing. So the next day, obviously he is completely shaken. He has to know if what he saw was real. But when he goes to the lift to check, he's hit with this impossible truth. He saw a 13th floor. He was on it, but the panel in the lift, it jumped straight from 12 to 14. There is no 13th floor. He's left standing there just thinking he must be losing his mind. Rahul, he tries to rationalize it. Maybe he was just tired. Maybe he dreamt the whole thing. But the building isn't finished with him yet. He's about to be dragged right back into that nightmare, and this time, there's no waking up.
And yup, it happens again. He's working late, gets in the lift, and to his absolute horror, it stops. The doors slide open, and he's staring out at that phantom 13th floor again. This time, he doesn't wait. He panics and just bolts out of the lift.
His only thought is escape, pure fight or flight. He finds the stairwell and just starts running, flying down flight after flight of stairs. His heart is hammering in his chest. He can barely breathe, anything to get to the ground floor and away from this place.
But after what feels like an eternity, completely exhausted and gasping for air, he finally stops and looks at the number on the wall. And his heart just sinks. He's right back where he started, the 13th floor. His mind is just racing. Logic is out the window. If down didn't work, maybe up will. He turns around, forcing his exhausted legs to climb, just hoping, praying that he can break whatever insane, supernatural loop has him trapped. But it's no use. It doesn't matter if he runs up or down, every single path he takes leads him right back to the same spot. He is caught in a terrifying, impossible maze on a floor that shouldn't even exist.
And just when he thinks things can't possibly get any worse, he glances at his watch, just trying to find some anchor to reality. And that's when he sees it. The hands are frozen. Time itself has stopped. Here, in this place, the normal rules of the universe just don't apply.
He's defeated, utterly terrified, alone in the dark. And then a voice whispers from the shadows, "Your number is up." And that's it. That's the moment all hope just drains away.
But here's the twist. Rahul doesn't vanish. They find him days later, completely traumatized, barely coherent. But his unbelievable story, it gives Inspector Deshmukh and his constable, Rafiq, the very first real clue they've ever had in this whole mess.
Now, it's Constable Rafiq who notices a critical, tiny detail. Rahul is absolutely convinced his whole ordeal happened on a Friday the 13th. But he was found on a Monday. The real Friday the 13th hadn't even happened yet. It was still a few days away.
And suddenly, everything just clicks into place for Rafiq. He realizes all the other people vanished on an actual Friday the 13th. Rahul only experienced a premonition, like a dress rehearsal for the curse. He survived because the date was wrong. So his survival, it's not a miracle, it's a warning. And it gives the police one, and only one, chance to stop it for good.
So armed with this terrifying but, actionable theory, Inspector Deshmukh decides to bet everything on it. He comes up with a really daring plan to face this curse head-on and stop another tragedy from happening.
And the plan is actually pretty brilliant in its simplicity. On the morning of the real Friday the 13th, Deshmukh calls in a surprise police drill and evacuates the entire skyscraper. Once it's completely empty, he secures the building, stations fire and emergency crews nearby, and then all they can do is wait.
And then it happens. Right on cue, a short circuit supposedly sparks a fire. But this is no ordinary fire. It absolutely explodes, consuming the entire building in this massive inferno. It's almost as if the curse, unable to claim a person, turned on the building itself.
The inspector's plan worked. He saved hundreds of lives. But as he stands there, watching that skyscraper burn itself to the ground, a huge question is just hanging in the smoky air. Was the evil tied to the building? And by destroying its home, did they actually end the curse? Or did they just unleash it on the rest of the world?